Welcome guys to this tutorial series where we are doing this animated human with the simulated clothes. There is a limitation to how many frames you can export from Mixamo. So in this tutorial we're gonna extrapolate the walking cycle and extend the animation. Now when we're gonna edit the animation we can temporarily hide the hair particles to improve the performance. So we go into the modifiers tab and turn off the hair particles. And now let's go to the animation tab here, because we have only one walk cycle and we want to extrapolate that one. So we will press this button to not only show selected, but to show all animations. And then we see all the animations that are created in Mixamo. And we will actually move all the animations to frame 30. So this is where it will start. And to see a bit what we are doing, because nothing will happen right now, we will have to go to the bones again and then click pose position, and we can also go to pose mode, and then we can make modifications to here. What we will do is to set the timeline to 0, and then we will press A to mark all the bones, go to pose, clear transform and all. And now we set a rest pose here and press I to insert keyframes. So now we have a keyframe at 0, which is the rest pose, and then the walk cycle starts from 30. So it will transition smoothly from the rest pose to the walk cycle. The reason why we want these smooth transitions is that unnatural accelerations may cause problems with the simulations in Marvelous Designer. But we still have one problem. The acceleration starts quickly here. So therefore I would like to move the character back a bit. And what is actually moving the character forwards and backwards is the Z location of the hip bone. So we can search for the hip bone here, Mixamo hips. So let's click this button to only show the hips animation. Then make sure to stay on frame 0 and move the character back in Z direction. And then we press I. So now you see that this will look a little bit more smooth. So now we're going to manually extrapolate the keyframes here. Sometimes you can actually use the extrapolation modes here. You right click on one of the bones, and for example, if it's a walk cycle that is the same all the time, you can use a cyclic F modifier and then it will just loop. But in this case we are having this one, the transition, and then we have the walk cycle. So the loop will actually go back to this movement again, which we don't want. And also, if the character is walking with the exact same speed all the time, you can also do a linear extrapolation. However, this is also not the case, because the character has different speed in different parts of the walk cycle. So we will have to manually adjust this ourselves, and then we will go into the graph editor instead. So we can start by extrapolating the speed. We know that the speed comes from the hip bones. It's the Z location that we are gonna work with, and we see that this curve here is very steep, and it's also a lot of other curves. So let's click first hips here, and then we click this button to only show the hip bones. And then on Z location, since this one is so steep, we want to see the whole curve, and then we press view and then frame all, and then we can see more clearly what we're doing. Here we can see the speed from that the guy starts walking here, and we see that the speed is varying a little bit. So what we can do is to select these keyframes, and it can be a bit tricky to select the last two ones here. So press Ctrl+ twice, and then you select even this one. Be careful that you don't select this one, because we only want the actual walk cycle and not this transition period. And then we press Ctrl+C. We put the timeline to here, 65, and remember the value of this spot, which is almost 170, and then we paste. And now we have pasted the exact same walk cycle one more time, but we will move it upwards, because we don't want the character to come back to the start position. We want the character to continue from where he stopped walking. Then we check the value again, which is almost 170. Let's check how this looks like from frame 30. The speed is continuing, but the actual movement of the legs and arms is not continuing. So now we have to copy that as well. So we can click this button, and then we temporarily lock the hips, and then we take all the other items in here. So what we can do is to press this button here, expand channels, and then we press A to select all, now we have all the parameters, and then we press all here and we copy this one, but make sure that we don't select the initial phase here, but only the actual walk cycle, and we copy and then we paste it on frame 65. So now the walk cycle also continues here. So now we can select this whole one here and we go to frame 100, we copy and paste. Then we go to frame 170 and we can copy everything here, copy and paste. And then we will also continue the speed, the same length as the actual walk cycle, which is to frame 310. So now we can unlock this one. So you select something here, press Ctrl plus, and deselect the first part. And we put it on frame 100, copy, paste. Put it here. And from here you can basically just repeat what we did to create as long walk cycle as you prefer. And then we can end the animation on 310. So we go here, end 310. Let's have a look now, play the animation from start. So the walking animation looks fine, and that concludes this video. In the next video we're gonna do a last cleanup, and then we're gonna export the animated character over to Marvelous Designer, where we can design clothes and simulate them in this animation. Like, subscribe and share this tutorial with your friends. See you in the next video.